Racing in Japan is saying goodbye to our Guardian. It's time for our June gaming check-in. Let's talk about it. Hello there everybody and welcome to The Comfy Spot. My name is Tyler and today it is time for the next installment in my monthly series, Gaming Check-In. This is the series where each month I talk about the latest games that I have been playing, be them new or old. And there was no installment for the month of May. You did not miss anything. I did not do one for May because the only game I played in the month of May was Soros, and I knew I was doing a review for Soros as well, which if you have not checked out the review already, go ahead and check it out. I think it turned out pretty well. I did enjoy that game, even though I do have some issues with it. But even though I was doing a review for Soros, I was like, it would be redundant to also do a gaming check-in video as well, because I'm just gonna be saying the same things more or less in a less refined form. And I was like, you know what, why do twice the work? And that just doesn't make sense to you. So there was no gaming check-in for the month of May. That is why. Apologies if you did not see my tweet or post on socials talking about that. But we are back this month in the month of June. And we have a couple games to talk about. We have 3 games to talk about. I will start with the first one because I have very little to say about it for a very specific reason, that being Final Fantasy 15. I've actually gone back to do my 3rd playthrough of this game, and the reason being is that this year it is the 10th anniversary of Final Fantasy 15. Shout out to that game. I love it to death. And this year I wanted to do a revisiting Final Fantasy 15 video, somewhat similar, somewhat akin to my Revisiting Kingdom Hearts series that I did, which, you know, by the way, go check out that series if you have not already over on my channel. So I wanted to do a video talking about that game. So I wanted to replay it and get my full experience on it, see what I think about the game now in 2026, 10 years later. My last playthrough was in 2021, and my thoughts definitely have changed over the years. So I'm going to be doing a whole separate video solely on that game in the coming months. You can look forward to that. You know, definitely get subscribed and hit notifications, that way you know as soon as that video comes out. But I do want to talk about it a little bit here, just a little bit. Not going to give away the goose entirely. Like I did say, this is my 3rd playthrough of the game. Second one was in 2021. First one was at launch, day 1. I've been a day 1 fan of Final Fantasy 15. And I know it is a game that is very divisive amongst Final Fantasy fans, amongst non-Final Fantasy fans, just people who have played this game. I know there are merely, you know, mixed opinions on it. And if you are a Versus 13 stan, I know you most likely absolutely abhor this game. I am neither of those. I have loved this game since day 1. I've never thought it was a perfect game. I have definitely been aware of its many issues, but I have thought also that like some of those issues are a bit overblown and exaggerated in my opinion over the years, such as some complaints about the story, the gameplay, the combat. I've definitely felt like complaints about those things. Some of them are valid, but some are also overblown. Where I am right now in the story, I'm roughly 30 or so hours in. I've been doing a lot of side stuff. I'm in chapter 8. We are, you know, getting ready to head on the boat to go to Altissia. So I've just been doing a lot of side stuff right now. I'm like level 45. I have like 150k experience banked up. I'm gonna, like, before I go to Altissia, I'm gonna hit up Golden Key, so I can get the 2 times experience rate over there, so that when I go to sleep we get a good damn near 400,000 or hopefully 400,000 XP by that time. Hopefully everyone will be at like 200k when I go to sleep then. But we've been doing a lot of stuff. It's been a fun time. In terms of my thoughts on certain elements, so like there are certain things that I did really think highly of before, such as the combat and the world of Final Fantasy 15. And, you know, now 10 years after the game first came out, 5 years after my last playthrough, my thoughts on those have changed to an extent, some for the better, some for the worse. You know, there are also elements of the story where I'm still in the midst of seeing what my thoughts are going to shake out to be on that. I'm still feeling that out. But, you know, when it comes to things like the combat, you know, I do think there is room for improvement. I do still think highly of it. And if you follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky, I've kind of tweeted some of my thoughts about this. I do think there is room for improvement. I wish that the team, or rather not the team, but I wish that Square Enix had retained the battle system here and iterated on it and improved it, refined it in a new entry and a follow-up game, be that Final Fantasy 16 or whatever the case may be. Not to say I do not like Seven Remake and Rebirth's combat systems, or I don't like the combat in 16 that we got. I do like those, and in some ways those games, the combat in those are improvements on what we got in 15. But I really mean like taking what we had with 15, sticking with it for another game, and building on it. Something that I think, the foundation there is solid, and improvements could have made it so much better in a follow-up. But I'll get to the nitty-gritty of that in my video dedicated solely to 15. So again, the world design, I got issues with it now more than I did before. My opinion, my thoughts of it have changed, especially as it pertains to the side quests and all. But again, conversation for a later date. I am using magic more this time around than I have in the past, and I've greatly enjoyed using the magic. It is very cool. I always thought it was, but I'm thinking it's very cool right now. But I do want to say, I think the last thing I'll say here about Final Fantasy 15 is that, maybe second to last thing, just to preface like kind of where my mindset is in terms of how I'm approaching this playthrough, and as it pertains to this revisiting Final Fantasy 15 project that I'm doing, this video I'm doing, is that last time when I played it in 2021, it was my very first time playing it with, all the new updates that had come with the Royal Edition. I played the DLCs as they came out over the years, but I had not done a full playthrough of like the Royal Edition with the DLCs, going through them at the same time as the story. So when I did it in 2021, my second playthrough, went through the story, and when each of the DLCs was supposed to happen, I played them at that specific point in the story. So when I got to chapter 7, as I got to the end of chapter 7, I did Gladio's DLC. Then at the end of chapter 9, I went and did Ignis's DLC. And then at the end of chapter 13 is when I went and did Prompto's DLCs. I felt like it just made the most sense to do it at that point. And I did chapter 13 verse 2 at that point. And then, got to the end of the game, saw the whole brand new final dungeon, and then did Artist DLC at the end. And doing it like that does make for a far more cohesive experience than playing the DLCs after the game comes out, or after the game was out, after playing it, doing it that way. But now, because it's been so long since I have played the game, really, played any of the DLCs, and I want to, go into it seeing if people's complaints about the story, if they do hold weight, if I feel differently about them now, I'm going to be doing all the DLCs after I finish the main story. So basically treat this like a day one playthrough, more or less. Same goes for the Kingsglaive movie and the Brotherhood YouTube series. When I first played the game back in 2016, I had seen those before I played the game. So, you might feel like my opinion on the game's story might have been a bit colored by that, and I don't think it was, but if you want to say that, you can. Because of that though, and because it's been 10 years and I have not watched either of those since the game came out, I basically remember jack squat about them outside of the very general basic premise and like very specific tidbits of information about those projects. So because of that, I'm also going to be watching those after I finish the game to once again see if I do feel like they are so meaningful to the story and so integral that they are necessary in order to get better understanding, or to get any understanding out of what's going on in the story. I don't think that's the case, but we will see what happens once I finish going through the game and everything. So that's where I am with Final Fantasy 15. I have been enjoying myself. It has been a fun time. You can look forward to, again, like I said, a dedicated revisiting Final Fantasy 15 in 2026 video coming at some point in the next few months. I would love to have this out by the beginning of September. We'll see what happens. It really depends on life things going on and just how much progress I'm able to make, but the goal is to try and have this out by, if not the beginning of September, by the end of September for sure. So keep an eye out for that. And like I said, get subscribed, get those notifications on. That way you know as soon as that video goes live. So game number 2 that we're going to talk about today in more depth is going to be Forza Horizon 6. Yes, I've been playing Forza Horizon 6. I have not played it too extensively. If I was to guesstimate an hour count, I would say I've played maybe 10 to 15 hours. I'm leaning more towards the 15-hour range of Forza Horizon 6, and I have been enjoying this game so far. I have actually been enjoying it more than I did Forza Horizon 6, even though I think I made a bit more progress at Forza Horizon 6. In terms of like progression, for context of this conversation, I have access to blue wristband events. The last event I did, or last major event I did, was the Chaser Zero, the giant mech race, which was very cool. Started that race off and just like driving off the cliff and driving off the hill or the mountain, whatever you want to say, driving that off that, racing it alongside on the road, the whole it jumping up as you enter the tunnel, then doing like the superhero landing down as you come out. It was all super cool. And of course you have the song playing in the background, New Genesis, which was just added to like the super anime, the anime love, anime devotion vibes here, which come to find out, as I found out weeks later recently, that song was made for One Piece, which I'm watching One Piece right now. Sidebar, as of recording, I am finishing Wano. Luffy just beat Kaido. Awesome fight, awesome arc so far, best arc of the show. So after finding that out, I was like, oh yeah, man, just adds so much more to like the anime love and vibe of that event. It was very, very cool. I do enjoy the map as well. The map in Japan, it's varied. I'm liking the environments. I've really really been in the Tokyo City area and I believe the western area. It's been a minute since I played. It's been a few weeks since I played Forza Horizon 6, but I have just now recently gone up to the area with snow and all. So I'm doing some events up there now, but I am liking the variety of the map design, how just the environments look. Japan itself is gorgeous. The game is beautiful, as you would expect from the Forza Horizon series. And you know, it goes to one of my critiques that I had about Forza Horizon 5, which, as much as I enjoyed that game for what I played of it, I did feel like it was a bit samey when it came to like environments. And with Forza Horizon 6, I'm not getting that feeling as much. So that's a pro for it in my book. I'm also liking some of the events where you're able to do them and they give you like a bit of a history lesson as like you're kind of like a tourist. Those are some fun, nice, relaxing experiences, giving you just a bit of context for the place that you are. It's not just, it's not just your sandbox to drive around in. This is a real place with history and all, and culture to get, to eat up and enjoy. So I've enjoyed that as well. One thing I don't really care for is the whole estate building thing. Like, I haven't engaged with it at all outside of the very first introductory thing for it, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. I don't care about this. I'm never going to touch this again at all while I play this game. So, maybe others feel the same way. It's just not for me. It is what it is. The actual racing is still great, as per usual for the series. Although I did have issues with Forza Horizon 5's with the racing there, that was kind of partly due, or mostly due really, to the driver tars. I felt like the driver tars, the difficulty adjustments, what caused them to just be wildly difficult, like just going up one level would be like, whoa, now I cannot pass you at all. That's not the case here for me, and it's really interesting. I'm not sure why that is. So I found myself enjoying the races far more here. Currently, I'm either racing at like highly skilled or experts. It's one of the two, or I'm like dabbling between both. But before, back at Horizon 5, I never went never went higher than above average, and I kind of would opt to stay at average because of the aforementioned driver tar issue that I had. But now, like, that's not the case. I don't know if it's because I'm adapting to the driving more than I did before, or if they've tuned the driver tars a bit better for Horizon 6, but the challenge at these higher difficulties, at highly skilled and at expert, it just has not been absurd to compete against. I've actually been having fun with it. It's been a fun yet fair challenge, which is exactly what I want and was just, for one reason or another, never able to get in Forza Horizon 5. It's just been an absolute blast. It's been so much fun doing these races. I remember one race, it's actually one of the last few races I did up there in the snow area. I believe it's an off-road or cross-country category race. It's one, I forgot where it is. I think it's like nearby, like a resort type place, a ski resort looking area. Either way, I had already beat the race once. I said, I wanted to try and do it again. So I'm doing it again, and I'm getting near the end of the race and all, and I'm in third place for the majority of this race, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna let this be. This is not gonna be how this race ends. Like, I'll beat it in first place once already. I'm gonna do it again. And last ditch effort in the final stretch, I came up, I sped past second place, and we were on the last turn of the race, and I just launched myself into an emergency e-drift brake, launched myself at the first place person, and I was like, I will either crash into you and bounce off of you, or this will fail spectacularly and you will go past me. And the former worked out, and I came in first place, and I won that race, and it was very funny. It was awesome. It was hype. I loved that. So again, races, they've been going well. It's been a fun time so far in Forza Horizon 6 as it pertains to that. I guess also sticking with the races in the game, like, I have been enjoying the main story progression. I think it is more engaging for me this time as well. You know, it is far more rewarding to be starting as a relative nobody, and you have to earn the right to use the better, faster cars in races by, you know, going through this wristband system, as opposed to just, you know, having everything available to you all at once right at the start. You know, the only thing limiting you is money necessarily. So that has been cool. It has given me a sense of like, yeah, I've earned this, I've worked for this, I've got this, I'm getting better and better and better. That way I'm able to use these better cars and faster cars in these different scenarios. So that's been awesome. Another thing I also want to highlight is the music selection here in Forza Horizon 6. You know, this music, I've always enjoyed the music, at least I did enjoy it in Forza Horizon 5. You know, I was typically on Horizon Pulse in Horizon 5. Horizon 6 here, I'm on Pulse, I'm on Bass Arena, and Gotcha City Radio. Those have been in regular rotation for me. Shout out for, you know, having Porter Viberson's cheerleader in Horizon Pulse. Shout out to having Nina Geraci with Info Hazard on Bass Arena. Super shout out to Nina Geraci. I've loved her music ever since I started listening to her last year. And as soon as I did, I was like, oh no, like she would be awesome to have be in Forza Horizon 6. So I'm super happy that it ended up turning out to be what happened. So yeah, the music is great and everything. And overall, I am enjoying Forza Horizon 6 quite a bit. The thing is, I will say, you know, all I'm enjoying it, it is not screaming Game of the Year or 10 out of 10 to me. And, you know, I never thought it would. You know, Forza Horizon 5 definitely never did. For me, Forza Horizon 6 is very much just a vibe. It's just a vibe. And like, if I was to give it a number, I'd probably give it like an 8, 8.5 maybe. Maybe I'd feel stronger as I played more and more. But for me, the Forza Horizon series is just a vibe. And it's a very good game that is very fun. It's a very fun time. But there is something missing from it that keeps it from being more than just a vibe to me. And it's kind of tough to explain, but I think one element is how artificial certain things are, like the quote-unquote story and characters, which, I mean, it's a racing game, you know, in the Forza Horizon series, story and characters are not anything to write home about ever. But just like the way in which it's presented just kind of feels artificial in a way. And the same goes for how the series is constantly feeding you rewards and points for everything you do, for literally everything you do. And again, it is a bit tough for me to explain this, like my thoughts on this. And so maybe you won't understand what I'm trying to say. And if you do understand what I'm trying to say, thank you for getting me. But it never feels truly real, the way in which, you know, you're just getting all these rewards and stuff. Obviously, this is a game, but like the way Forza Horizon is, it's just so in your face about it being a game that everything just becomes so a bit overbearing. Like, I cannot just enjoy the world and Japan for what it is and earn cars by either buying them or by winning them from races and events. Like, I have to, and when I'm playing the Horizon games, I have to always be earning skill points for every little thing I do. I have to always be getting wheel spins for other rewards. I have to be getting reward coins to unlock random bonuses for my cars that kind of sort of feel negligent in the grand scheme of things. Like, it's the way in which, you know, just anything and everything you do, it's like, hey, good job. Hey, here's this. Hey, here's that. And it just ends up feeling like, I don't know, it just feels like, you know, you're kind of sort of in a casino and it's like, hey, you know, come on, stay here, play with us. This is a fun time. You're feeling rewarded, right? You're doing a good job. Good job, guy. You're doing a great things here. You're having fun. Here's a new car for you. And like, obviously, people like this about the series. And the series would not be as popular and well received as it is if, you know, this wasn't the case. But, you know, although the Forza Horizon series is all about providing the most fun and a rewarding casual driving game experience for anyone and everyone, it just, for me, it just, that artificiality behind it just causes it to be lacking, in my opinion. So I am enjoying Forza Horizon 6. The nagging problem I have with it at the core of the series, that's not gonna go away. I don't foresee that ever going away because this is what Horizon is. It's like we're just here to have a good time for however long you're hanging out for. And that's cool. It's a vibe, and for me, I don't think I necessarily need it to be more than a vibe, but it just being a vibe does keep me from having a deeper enjoyment of it or the level of enjoyment that other people are clearly having with the series. So is what it is, but all that said, Forza Horizon 6 is a good game, having a great time with it, and hey, I'll get back to it when I get back to it. I'm again Final Fantasy 15 right now, other games coming up soon that I want to play and games that are out that I want to play, but I will get back to Forza Horizon 6 at some point in time. The last game I'm going to be talking about is Destiny 2. I jumped in for a few hours, this month just to play Destiny 2 for a little bit because of the new Monument of Triumph final update that was released at the beginning of June. And, coincidentally, the day I jumped on was also the same day as Game 5 of the NBA Finals. So it was actually kind of funny, like going into the tower and seeing people AFK in there talking about the finals through text chat. That was kind of a funny experience. But yes, Destiny 2, we all know what's going on with it. Destiny 2 has come to an end. Destiny is seemingly done for the foreseeable future, if not forever. There is no Destiny 3, so this was the goodbye from Bungie for Destiny, I guess, as an IP. And I've been playing Destiny since 2014. It's funny, I actually never even was going to get Destiny at first, but I got it as a Christmas gift, and I was like, sure, why not? And then I was just along for the ride after that. So I have history with the series. I am a big fan of the series. I'm not a super diehard who's done every single raid and is in Nightfalls and Grandmasters and min-maxing and doing all the things and the stuff, but I have always greatly enjoyed Destiny and the world that Bungie made here, and the gunplay and the story and the world and the characters. Everything I did truly love all this stuff. It was just excellent stuff that Bungie had here on offering. So it is sad to see it go. Now, when it comes to the Monument of Triumph, like I said, I only played a little bit. I played maybe 2 or 3 hours, and I was like, all right, I'm done. I went to each of the planets, and I chatted with each of the various characters that I was able to, seeing where things were being left off for them, where things were going to be possibly going for them in the future, where like the story was like teasing they were going to be progressing to next. I did a few of the Distortion public events as well, and that was it. I would have done more to get the final cutscenes for myself, but it was going to take far too much time for me. Again, Final Fantasy 15, playing that right now, and I was like, too much time that I do not have, so I'm out. I will check these out on YouTube, and I did. I checked them out online, and the final cutscene with Zavala was beautiful, giving him his retirement, his send-off. That was lovely. Making Ikora the Vanguard leader, also perfect. A nice way to progress her story and kind of wrap things up for them. Really love that. And then the final conversation that you have after you see that cutscene, which I'm not going to say specifically who it's with for those who do not know. That it's a big spoiler, so I'll just kind of leave it at that. But that conversation is a huge deal, and definitely is just like, whoa, this is where things were going to be leading. And with the future of Destiny 2, with the next expansions and everything, it was going to be eventually building up to this. That is actually pretty hype. It would basically kind of talking like another huge final shape type finale is what we were going to be building up to. And it's a shame that we're not going to be getting that now. Who knows if we ever will get that. But man, it was still very exciting to see that nonetheless. And beyond that, this update added some other neat stuff as well. And it's cool that, now there is no pressure to stay on the grinding treadmill before new content comes out. Anyone who wants to make a new character like myself, or who just wanted to casually enjoy the game and unlock stuff at your own pace, at your own leisure, you can do that now with no stress behind it. And I think that's awesome. That is lovely. I will say I was going to keep the game on my system, but I chose to delete it, partly because Destiny 2 takes up a lot of space, and that goes into the fact that also I have not played Destiny 2 that much in recent years, ever since the Final Shape came out. After the Final Shape came out, I played it a bit regularly for a few weeks and all. Actually, not for a few weeks. I played it a bit regularly throughout that Final Shape life cycle. So throughout each of the acts, Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. Edge of Fate came out, played the story for that, and then I was like, all right, I'm out until the next big story update comes. And I would just only be playing, maybe once or twice a week after that. My heyday with Destiny 2 was back when I was in college, which is why, actually no, post-college, because Destiny 2 came out 2017, so post-college, but then I fell off for a bit. So really from like Witch Queen all the way through Final Shape was my Destiny 2 heyday. And my Destiny heyday point blank period was definitely when I was in college with Destiny 1. And now, times have changed, my time has changed and all, what types of games I want to play and everything. So because of that, I was already playing Destiny 2 less and less and less. So like this happening the way it did and me being like, yeah, I'm fine with deleting it, it was bound to happen at some point in time. When it comes to the future of Destiny and Destiny 2 shutting down and all, I never made a video about this, but I'll take this opportunity just to briefly talk about it. I understand where the Destiny community is coming from. I get them being upset that the game is done, even if this was like a long time coming, seeing the trajectory of Destiny 2's player count and how things are being received and all, and just general understanding of game development and where we are right now in the industry. Like, Destiny 2 was either going to die or it was getting one last expansion and then it was going to be, and that was it. It was not going to be going on much longer than it already did. So I get that, people are upset that, this is where it is right now. And I get that they are more upset that Destiny 3 is not happening at all, which was also a bit obvious a little while ago. Again, general understanding of things. You could kind of see that, no, that was not happening. But I do feel like lashing out and wanting Marathon to fail is the exact opposite way to go about things. You should not want Marathon to fail. I am not saying that you need to like a Marathon. I am not saying that you need to play Marathon. What I am saying is that Marathon failing means that Bungie is 100% done. Like right now, Bungie already has one foot in the grave, especially after the recent set of brutal layoffs that happened that took out, unfortunately, basically the entire Destiny 2 team, some Marathon team members as well. Like a good chunk of that company is gone now, which is an utter shame. And at the end of the day, it's only management that we have to blame for this. It's already been widely reported how the leadership at Bungie unfortunately led the company to the place that it's at right now, led Destiny 2 to where it ultimately ended up being. So we have really them to blame for things. We have only Bungie to blame for the situation that it is currently in. But if you do not want Bungie to go away, Marathon needs to succeed in some regard. And Marathon is floundering right now, unfortunately. But if Marathon 100% fails, then, you're not getting anything. Like, I understand the mentality that, oh, if Marathon succeeds, well, Bungie will never return to Destiny. I get that mentality, but the thing is, if you want even the slightest possibility of Destiny's return, or if you just even want to get another Bungie world to fall in love with that is not Marathon, you should want Marathon to thrive enough for Bungie to survive and make something new. And right now, Bungie has a couple incubation projects in the works, but nothing is greenlit yet as of, current reporting. So who knows what the future of Bungie looks like a year from now, hell, even 6 months from now. We should want Marathon to succeed so that we can keep Bungie around and so that Bungie can continue making games and worlds that we fall in love with, that we make our lives, that we make giant fandoms around, so on and so forth. You should not want Marathon to fail, because if Marathon fails, Bungie is 100% done, and that's just where I'm gonna leave it there. It is sad that Destiny 2 is over and all. It is sad that we are possibly not getting any more Destiny in the foreseeable future. I had many good times with it, all the love in the world to the development team over at Bungie, to everyone that worked on Destiny over the past decade plus, to everyone who just lost their jobs over at Bungie. My hearts go out to all of you. You all deserved so much better than you got, and I hope you all are able to get back up on your feet wherever that may be. All that said though, that is it for this episode of Gaming Check-In, this installment of Gaming Check-In. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all enjoyed these conversations that we had about these few various games here. Let me know your thoughts on all of them down in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought about any of the things I had to say, my critiques about any of these games. Let me know your thoughts on the Bungie situation down in the comment section below. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit the notification bell, that way you know as soon as new videos go live. My name is Tyler, this has been The Comfy Spot, and we'll talk next time. Have a good one.